All right, I'm not depressed or anything like that. I'm just really, really, really sick, I think. Or I'm starting to get sick. And, I'm getting really tired of it, but, it happens. But, there's something else that I'm getting really, really sick of. And that is the self improvement community and the people that are involved in it, or at least some of them. You know, I think, in my opinion, one thing is that self improvement, first of all, gets looked at as kind of dorky. It's like, oh, it's just a bunch of guys trying to improve their lives. And my answer to that is like, what more can you really do, Just try to be better in your own way. And maybe they haven't had the experiences to realize why it is that men like us try to better ourselves, but, it is what it is. So that's one thing. Second thing is, which is more my main concern, is the vision for self improvement seems to be getting blown up by people that have cigars in their mouths and care about all they seem to care about is drive supercars and you know envision a bundle of money in their hand and bang all the women that they would like. And a lot of you that probably seems appealing in whatever reasons. Like I don't like saying that people that chase money and chase women and chase cars and things like that are like dumb and that you shouldn't be doing it. But there, I still don't like that vision, and I have good reasons for it. Like people just label it as bad. It's like, oh, it's bad to do that. It's like, but why is it? It's because I think that self improvement, man, fundamentally is trying to help yourself, and by doing so, you help the community around you because you're filling your own cup, and then eventually you're working on yourself to the point where you overflow your cup so that you could help everybody else around you. It's not about buying expensive shit from Gucci. It's about being able to retire your mom or your dad at one point, or being able to, just help someone out and maybe give to someone. And you might be asking like, why would you want to do that? And my answer is always, well, you want to add on to the common good, of humanity, and you want to tilt the world in a little bit more of the positive direction, and that starts with you. I think sounds corny, but I think it's true. But the way we've been perceiving it and the vision that we see it through most of the time now is, and it's very motivational, but the way we see it is just the lens of money, supercars, bitches, and that's like all we see. And with people that call themselves high value mans because they have a cigar in their mouth, it's like, no, I think what determines a high value man, I don't even like using that term because of what, like all the meanings that's been associated with it, but I think it's all about a matter of character. And I think it's coming as close to being as like father figure like as possible. There's a lot of people here that could sit down and make a shit ton of fun of me for, believing in or wanting to be like the characters from my childhood life, like, Spider-Man or like Iron Man or like Optimus Prime. But as I grow up, I realize that of course, you can't be a huge robot machine with big guns that can blast through buildings, or a millionaire playboy philanthropist, or a guy named Spider-Man that can shoot webs and fucking swing across buildings. But you can have the character of such people, and the character of those people are ones that you look up to. And especially in you could say you even do that in religions. For example, like I know more about Islam than I do more other religions, but the prophet essentially was, someone to look up to, a role model. And then you see all these other people that we've been calling role models, and the only reason we have them as role models is because that's all we can really look up to. I think they've done some things right, but at the same time, I don't think they've done a lot of other things right. And you might say, well, you're being a little too stingy, or who's to say what's right or wrong? It's just like, maybe you're right, and maybe if that's what you want, if you want the money, you want the bitches, you want the supercar, I can't really tell you what's right or wrong for you. You want to go chase that, you could go chase that, and see how much that does for you. But my vision is completely and utterly different, okay? And even some of the more self-improvement YouTube channels that just try to make these, they try to make multiple videos with the intention of trying to, for the sake of just making videos. And I feel like I've been guilty of that too. And lately I've just been trying to see like what makes me keep going on this journey and what keeps me going to try to want to make a difference and like want to help. But some takes, there are some takes that I completely and utterly disagree with. Like, for example, some takes are like self-improvement YouTubers just keep making the same videos but said in different ways, which I think is a good thing, because not everybody learns from the same thing. Like, not everybody's hit by the same message at the same time in the same way. What I'm hoping is, like, if I get 200 views on one video, then at least there's like maybe 10 people that get hit with that message and stay with that message, and that's what I'm hoping for. There might be 200 views, but that's not an indication of your impact, even though it might be like some indication of how much the possibility of who you have of impacting, but it doesn't actually tell you who you're impacting. And I think that number is going to be a lot less, but even then I think that's what makes it so worth it to make these videos, even if it's about the same topic but in a different manner. So I do still agree with some of those takes, but I just don't agree with a lot of the other stuff and the vision of self-improvement. And if you agree with that, go ahead, go watch these YouTubers. I'm not going to stop you. You probably think I'm some like beta cuck because I don't have any of these things and I'm trying to talk about them to make you go away from them. But all of the men that I'm talking about probably have a lot more experience than me in a lot of things when it comes to money, women, and all that. But all I could say is I've had the miniature version of the experiences of those, and I realized that in the long term is not going to be good. Like, for example, right? Women, they've probably had countless women, but for me, it only took one for me to realize that I did not just want to go around and bang and go crazy on that. Like, I did not just want to go around casually hooking up and doing all that and being like, oh yeah, this seems like a fun lifestyle. It's like, it left me actually even lonelier. I was like, wait, this ultimate thing that I chased, and now it hasn't fulfilled me to the expectation that I thought it would because of what society told me, because of what the people around me told me. And now I'm just like, wow, I literally wasn't motivated for months because of that. And I was just like, what the hell do I do now? What's like my purpose? And people might think that's funny, but like most men make it their goddamn purpose to go out and get laid. And then another one is like supercars. It's like, well, how about this, right? If a man that's richer than me buys like much better shoes than I do, much better coat and pants, much better like silverware, all this stuff, and cars, anything, even if I buy a little bit better of the version of, even if I buy a little less better version of what he has, I still find myself getting used to that thing and then not appreciating it to its fullest degree. Like, for example, say some rich man buys some crazy unique shoes for $200,000, right? And maybe I own like a pair of shoes that's worth $50, and I buy my first pair of like $100 shoes that are really, really cool. Like, I'll be maybe like infatuated for moments, maybe like a little while, like a day or maybe a week, maybe even a month. But after that, I'm just like, oh yeah, cool, nice, whatever. And even if you show gratitude for that thing, which most of us don't even do to begin with, it's like, well, you're just not going to appreciate that thing. You're just not going to, right? So I realize that stuff is not really going to bring me as much happiness. Sure, I can have cars that I like, and maybe I want to buy them in the future, like a Camaro. Like, I always watch Transformers, so I always wanted to buy a Camaro because that's something I like, not because I want to buy it because of what other people think of me, because then I'd just buy another car or something else that I think might get me better status. But that's just kind of what I would like to have. But even then, it's not like a necessity to me. I know I'm just going to be like, oh, okay, whatever, cool. All of this I'm just saying is not going to be, although it might help in some way, like money is the biggest one. Money can definitely help you get you out of bad financial stress and places like that, but ultimately it won't affect I, I don't think it should be like the singular focus of your life. Even though like it's hard to know and find the balance between how you could show gratitude but earn more money but still not give it the importance that it's like everything, you know what I mean? So even I struggle to find that balance. So I'm still trying to learn about that. But as of right now, I just don't think like I've saved up so much money in my bank account and things like that, and it just doesn't really affect my mood all too much. Like it doesn't bring me like getting to that point of like hitting 10K in my bank account or something like that. Like didn't get me to a point where I was like, oh, sick. I was just like, oh, cool, nice. Move on to the next. It literally felt like nothing. So my vision of self-improvement is trying to chase something meaningful. And that doesn't mean, I always expect something meaningful out of life, because that's also an expectation. It's just like I want to chase something more meaningful, which is providing value in the thing that I know I can do best, and I'm still trying to learn what that might be or what that could be, And so far, I think that's YouTube. I could be wrong in the future. I could be right. Who knows? But in the moment, that's what I feel like is right, to be able to bring the utmost value that I can to a community. And you should also try to find what it is that you could do to provide the utmost value in the future. That could be something like boxing, because, well, how is that valuable and affect the greater good? It's like, well, you'll be able to protect your, children or your wife and things like that, or people you love. And I think that helps you in a positive way. So even little things like that, like find what your purpose is, find what you really, really like doing, and what you think will affect the common good and help the greater good of all humanity, So, and through that, you'll, cause ripple effects, and it'll tilt the world in a little bit better of a direction. So, yeah, I just wanted to make this video because I just don't like where this whole thing is going. Like, people online just on self-improvement talking about a whole lot of fluff, and maybe I could be one of those for you, but I just like going into different concepts like psychology and philosophy and a whole lot of different things and just talking about it. Like, my biggest thing is not fluff, because some people kind of understand fluff, right? I don't, and that's fine. Some people like the basic talk. Some people like being talked as if like, you need some authority in your life. Like, they talk to them as if like, hey, bro, you need to finally go do this or else you're a bitch, Some self-improvement YouTubers have their way of talking, and I think that's fine, because that helps a certain group of people that would listen to that kind of stuff, and they wouldn't listen to people unless those were the people that they watched. So, and you wouldn't listen unless you watched me or something like that, So it just depends. But I just don't like the dishonesty that's going around about how much money they can make selling a false dream. It's almost like trying to be, it's like the Liver King situation. Like, you're pumping yourself with steroids and then telling people that if you get on his supplements and eat like this and live this like ancestral lifestyle, that you'll get what you need. But it's like, I don't think that's the case at all. And a lot of stuff out there self-improvement wise just seems very, very fake to me. And my vision of my channel is like just being honest about what I'm learning. And even if I haven't experienced something, I want to be able to bring that, I want to be able to talk about it, but be forthright about my experience. Like, I've talked about dating multiple times, but I've also mentioned the fact that I've never really been in a relationship, which, might make my advice not as good as someone who has, which I'm fine with, but I think I could still have an opinion on it as long as I'm honest about where I'm coming from. Now, does that mean you have to listen to me? No. I never said anybody has to listen. I never even said anybody has to subscribe. I'm just here living my life and trying to improve just like you, and I might just be like one step ahead on the topic that I'm talking about, but you might be one step ahead of me somewhere else. That's why I'm trying to make a brotherhood, So, like, that's the vision that I kind of have for this channel. I might be the guy on the camera, but like everybody else got their story to tell, So, and that's what the comments are there for. And I love the fact that a lot of you comment really, really long and in-depth stuff and almost like pour your hearts out. But yeah, I know I going into something completely different here, but I just don't like the self-improvement space. I think it's become a lot more materialistic in some sense. So I kind of want to step out of that manosphere, even though I will address it at times because people will get involved with it. But that's just not the kind of person I want to be, and I just wanted to say that because I think it's important to have some sort of vision and let your audience know about that vision. So, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for y'all. And, yeah, let me know if there's anything that any of you like struggle with or things like that. And maybe those are like video ideas that I could do and we could talk about them on the channel. And I know a lot of you have like sleep, for example. I still haven't made a video on that, things like that. But I'm trying to gather several different topics that you guys might want to know about and might want to know my story about. So, yeah, just let me know, and I got you, okay? But, yeah, that's all I got for you. Peace. Take it easy.